Hey Cliff, how you doing?
Yes, sir.
This is an honor to actually talk to you on the phone. Wow.
No, it's the way it used to be all the time.
Yeah. I'm only 25. I wish I would have grown up in the original punk scene. I think my life would
Oh,
be a lot better.
no, I don't know. You don't want to end up like I do, like I am. Fucking
If I ended up
take.
in a legendary punk rock band that's amazing, yeah, I think I would love my life a lot more.
Yeah, I don't know. If I can, maybe if maybe if we'd gotten half the fucking money that or 1/10 of the fucking money that we're owed or something by these mainly Tang records is fucking, I'd be okay. But fucking, I'm always teetering in the fucking edge of homelessness.
Seriously?
Yeah. I was homeless for a fucking year. Well, that fucking asshole's out there living in a 3-story fucking beach house in San Diego.
Part of my heart just broke.
Huh?
Part of my heart just broke just now, hearing that you were homeless for... Jesus Christ. Now
Yeah,
I don't even want to buy a records from Tang, knowing you won't get fucking profited. No, I was seriously, next paycheck, I was going to buy some of your records from Tang, but now that you're not going to get profited, fuck.
I lived under a tree for a fucking year.
Fuck
That
Tang
guy
records.
that guy hasn't paid us a fucking penny ever since we fucking put the albums out with him in 91 and 93 or something.
Well, thank you for telling me that, because now I'm going to get them off eBay. Which is going to be more expensive, but at least that's fucked up. That's why I hate labels. I mean, I run a label myself, which I do pay artists, but Jesus.
Can't you go right to Discogs and order the stuff?
Yeah, they're on Discogs. I use, whenever I interview musicians, I actually use Discogs as a reference point for things. The only freeze albums that I currently have are Land of the Lost, Rapid Reaction, and Calling All Creatures whenever it decides to show up. I just ordered it a couple of days. I didn't actually know about that one.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, nobody does. We put our first album in fucking 20 years. To me, and I'm able to step back, after 40 years or so, and kind of look at what we've done, and not be too biased about it. But to me, it might. There was a review. Who just did it? A punknews.org
yeah, I
or
think
something.
I saw what you posted about that.
Yeah, that was a pretty straight up review. That was pretty spot on. I think he's right. It's like we don't hit the anthemic highs and stuff of a couple of songs in the past, but there really aren't any bad songs on the album.
Yeah, I've listened to it on YouTube and I fucking love it.
Oh yeah, well, I'm happy with it too. If there's a website I go to. I don't buy anything because I don't have any money, right?
Neither do I.
There's a really simple site to go to, but you can't even send this the site on Messenger or anything like that because it catches it and it won't let it blocks it. But anyway, there's a site called mp3int.com.
Oh, I think I've heard of something like that.
Huh?
I think I've heard of something like that.
Yeah. There aren't many of them left. But there are, but you have to kind of really dig for it. But mp3int.com. It will take anything that's on YouTube, and it will give you
YouTube converter.
Right. Yeah. Yep. And it's whatever. I mean, from the looks of it, it looks like it's a straight up thing and stuff. There's ads on it and stuff. So I mean, they're making some money. It looks official and stuff. Apparently, it's not. But I mean, I've been downloading everything. Everything ever.
Are you gonna get the money from Calling All Creatures?
Are we gonna get it? Who knows? Probably not. He's in breach of contract already on that too. Fucking didn't do a fucking thing to promote it. Didn't send out any fucking promo copies. None.
I kind of just want to send you 20 over Western Union now, just to make sure you get some money from this.
I've only got one copy. I got one copy of the CD.
I mean, I bought it from there, but I'd like to send you some money just on the side. I've already bought the record from the record label plus the cassette tape because I like cassettes, but I'd also like to profit you, the artist, knowing this label's about to fuck you over. I hate that. I believe in supporting artists.
You know what? It's like, the whole punk thing. The whole punk thing came about like in reaction in a lot of ways to major labels and stuff, and the way they were handling bands and shit like that. That's why and it seems like I mean, obviously the music itself had the fucking prog rock shit and the disco, but I mean, when but the labels were ripping off bands, and they mastered the art of it. And so when the indie labels, the punk labels came out and stuff, they went two ways. There were the really cool ones you could do verbal agreements with, like Modern Method or even Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Or there were there's like Tang or Lost and Found for us and stuff, which we they just picked up. They just took the criminal habits of the major labels and just took them and took it to a minor level.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I mean, I've heard Tang has two pressing plants. One they report from and one they don't.
Jesus.
I mean, he said, I just pulled up a quarterly. We've been signed to BMI for, I don't know, Christ, since 2005 or something like that. And I just pulled up a random quarterly, thing from 2007, and I see that just a quarterly, and I see that No Exposure, one of our songs from the last.
I love this song.
Was used three times in three different episodes of some MTV show in England, and another one was I forget what the song was in a Danish movie, and those take licensing deals to get done. But I didn't know anything about that back then, really. So it's like,
holy shit.
And that stuff's split 50-50. Almost, that's kind of the standard, you sign to. Whoever the label is will give you 50. And he didn't even have, Curtis didn't even have the rights to the fucking thing by then, because we signed a 7-year, deal with him in 91, 93. So by then the deal would be over anyway. But we heard nothing from him. And it's like, I've talked to other bands that, not that I can't really mention names, but
yeah, I understand.
Yeah, but it's just like, one guy, well-known band from Boston, LA. We're friendly with all the guys from, back then. He was just telling me that, he found out that Curtis signed a deal. One of their songs was on some Japanese gaming thing or something, and it was like $40,000 or something that he got paid. And they would do $20,000. He got nothing. He had to find out about the deal from somebody else. I mean, just on his own.
What the fuck?
One of the most well-known one, and I can say this because it's fairly well-known, is Gangrene. And I don't know why the fuck Doherty has anything to do with him at all. But for some reason, they're best friends. They must have made some side deal or something. But I don't know. I don't know, because I like Chris. But $100,000 for alcohol to go on some, again, Japanese gaming thing or something, or some skate thing or something over in Japan. $100,000 wasn't reported to him to use alcohol. This is years ago.
Holy
and
shit.
They finally settled out of court and stuff. And the other guys, the reason I can say that is because they'll yap about it online and stuff,
I would
But
too.
But I mean, the guy's he's the biggest thief I've ever fucking met in the music industry, on any side. Granted, I don't know anybody on the other side, but yeah.
I know what you mean. It's you don't really have to know people on the other side. It's kind of just obvious how they treat people.
Yeah, well, yeah. I just meaning whatever, rap labels. I don't know any of those people, but but as far as punk labels go and stuff, he's the biggest fucking thief that's ever been born. The fucking guy. If you go back to One False Move, Contract High, I don't know if you've know that song, but it's
yeah. I actually before this interview, I listened to all of your albums from Land of the Lost up to your newest one just to refresh myself. So yeah, I'm aware of it.
Yeah, I mean that was written directly about him. So you move to the West Coast after screwing everyone you've known. It's like one day you'll go to check your mail. Good morning, letter bomb. No prints, no paper trail.
Oh shit.
It's fucking. I fantasize all the time about fucking waste a light him on fire and whatever, and just be done with the fucking guy. But anyway, my mind goes in odd spots, as you know from the lyrics. So
I've been I'm 25. I've been listening to your band ever since I was too young to probably listen to the Freeze. But
Well, you know what? You know, it's kind of weird. I'm serious too when I say this. I actually sympathize with people. I feel bad for people that actually do understand what I write about, because I mean,
your band's one of a kind.
there's not too many bands out there that get into like the psychological elements that that I
Like,
can do.
my favorite album is obviously I Love Rapid Reaction, because Misguided Memories, Echoes, those fucking songs just hit me real hard. And also that album happens to contain two so when I first heard the songs Princess Die and Before I Hit the Rubber Room, that like, oh my, I know you said you'll answer any question. How the fuck did you write Before I Hit the Rubber Room? That song is just...
That's again. That's like we wrote. I wrote. Well, me and Rob actually, who wrote. I started the band with Rob Rosenthal, Rob DeCradle. He wrote the music for I Hate Tourists and all the stuff back then. I started the band with. But anyway, Trouble If You Hide too. But Trouble If You Hide and Rubber Room, we wrote those both before I Hate Tourists in 1980. Those were written in like '79.
Jesus, wow. That's
but
crazy.
anyway, no. It's just like, so anyway, like that's kind of a Dead Boys kind of inspired song. Like one of those like, better don't look at me that way, bitch. Your face is going to get a punch. I don't want any cock, girl. I need lunch. I mean, it's the Dead Boys kind of stuff. Back then you could kind of say that kind of shit and get away with it. But by the time we decided to use that song and stuff, I didn't even, I don't even have the lyrics on it. I had to put down. The insane can't be held responsible for their actions, rather than put the lyrics down. And it's just, we won't play it anymore because I can't sing that with a straight face. I feel terrible singing it. It's not cool.
I've got a bud over in he's over in California. So in 2013 I had a band called Vaginal Aftershock, which I wanted to play that song just to piss people off, but like no one else would. And like 2 years later, my friend calls me. He's like, "So we just played a show, and we finally played Before I Hit the Rubber Room by the Freeze, and they got kicked out of the venue like halfway through it." Like they literally got shut down and were literally physically kicked out of the venue for playing that.
Like did the people know the song ahead of time, or could they just tell what the lyrics were?
I think some of them did. But, I mean, it's got its own unique intro, but I was like, dude, that is the greatest punk rock shit ever. I mean, I just take it as shock rock, because obviously, this is the first time I've ever talked to you, but I seriously, before talking to you, I don't think that you're that type of person, but, like, I think it's just a shock value song, isn't it? Or, like, what was
no, I mean, it is, and stuff, it's all, everything that, like, I write like that, it's like, I'll think it. But, it's a way to get the thought out rather than acting on it, usually.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, everything from that, like, through, like, New Poison, say, on, One False Move. 75% of most of what I write is true, and and the other 25% is where I kind of don't want to end up if I end up going to the extreme, But, I'm not going to say, I know that I have mental issues,
I have a lot of
I'm diagnosed with, generalized anxiety disorder, and but, but I'm not going to sit there, with a bone saw, a skull saw, and try to solve it that way, by rearranging parts of my brain like the guy does in New Poison and dies in a pool of blood. So, I just got to go there just to remind myself that I'm not going to go there, But
to bring up another song on 1994's "Crawling Blind." The song Packaging Cattle, does that have to do with Nirvana?
Yeah, kinda. It had to do with the whole Seattle scene. Pretty much. The assembly line kind of way that they're going around, the labels will go around and just signing any band that sounded like them.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that. I like the reference to "This ain't Boston or LA, go up to Seattle." And it just kept talking about like being a poster child, which I know Kurt Cobain didn't. I mean, some say he didn't. I mean, I never met the guy, obviously, but some say he didn't want to be the poster child, and the label forced him. But yeah, I kind of like how you guys like hit a stab that way, because I don't ever hear any punk rock band. Every punk rock band from like the '90s and today, like NoFX, not Dead Kennedys, Pennywise, and all them, they worship Nirvana. Like, yeah, Nirvana brought punk rock to the mainstream, and I never really hear anybody criticize them for anything, or
Oh, I wasn't knocking Nirvana. I was knocking the industry.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I don't think Kurt Cobain really wanted to be the poster child, but they made him the poster child. And even today, unfortunately, Nirvana is still regaled as one of the greatest of all time. Which, I love their music, but yeah, Dave and Chris. I'm friends with Chris Novoselic actually, but I just wondered what that song was about in general.
Right. I mean, it's just again, but it's just just taking whatever, taking what's real and just making it generic, basically. Or trying to just squeezing every last fucking penny they can out of it. No, I don't mean out of Nirvana, but I mean out of Nirvana sound-alikes and stuff. And back then, I mean, like when that was happening, I mean, like Pearl Jam and Stone Temple Pilots and these bands, like they were just like looked at as like Nirvana ripoffs back then. I mean, now it's harder to really hear it because there's been so much like it since then.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I mean, back then it was different. It's like they were signed, and Cobain and Eddie Vedder had like a little back and forth kind of little thing going. They were kind of ragging on each other, and Cobain saying don't try to ride our coattails, and he's saying he was saying fuck you, I remember we were on tour in '91. When in Europe, the same and Nirvana was booked by the same people we were, and they hadn't hit yet, and but the album had come out, the second one, big one, and Teen Spirit, and we were getting about 400 people a show, and they were getting like 100 people a show, but they were like 5 shows ahead of us on the same route, booked by the same people, and all of a sudden, that video came out. Smell Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah.
And suddenly they were getting, 500 people selling out every show, and we were getting fucking, 4 or 5 days later, people had already spent the ticket money and stuff, so we were getting fucking 50 people a show, and then suddenly they just got lifted up and taken off the fucking, the tour and flown back here and just blew up, big, huge.
I would much prefer to see the Freeze than Nirvana. Just saying. The Freeze, you guys definitely have better lyrical content than... I don't really care for Nevermind too much. I mean, I like In Utero because it's noisiness, but I've known the Freeze a lot longer than Nirvana. I think I first listened to your band in 1999, so when I was about 6 years old.
Right.
That's why
it's a damn good thing you didn't understand much of it back then. So
that's why I said I listened to it when I was too young to probably listen to it. I remember I was 6 years old. I heard my first punk bands were Bad Religion, NoFX, Dead Kennedys, The Freeze, Minor Threat, DOA, and Crass. I had a little cassette tape that I used to. My mom was dating this guy, and he left a cassette tape behind. Well, actually, I think I'm not sure how he left it behind, but I found it, and it changed me forever. Because before
how old were you when you actually first started listening to funk?
It was 1999, so about 6 years. Oh, you mean like when I really started to understand it?
Yeah.
Probably junior high, 6th, 7th, 8th grade.
So 12 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember I was a DJ on this college radio station on Cape Cod, and I had the first punk show, on the college radio station there, and it was '79, and I was getting this call every week I'd be on there from this kid saying hey man, could you play some Eddie and the Hot Rods? Could you play some Damned? And I go, and this kid's voice hadn't even changed yet, and I said, how old are you? Why? I'm just asking, just because you sound. How do you know these bands? Why wouldn't I know these bands? This little kid, like a wise ass, and I'm like, well, because nobody knows these bands, on the Cape. Because I know them. That's why I'm asking you. Anyway, and it ended up being Bill Close.
Nice.
And because he's 6 years younger than I am. And he was like 12 years old. He was 11 years old when he's asking to play. Hey, play New Rose by the Damned. Play do anything you want to do, Eddie and the Hot Rods. I'm like, all right, yeah, no problem. It was cool. And then, like Christ, he was 14 when he played with us, and when he joined us, he was 14 on Guilty Face.
Jesus.
fucking guy, 14 years old, playing violent arrest and that kind of shit. Fucking God, fucking guy.
I wrote "Fuck Armageddon, This Is Hell" from Bad Religion on the wall at the age of 10. Didn't really know. I mean, I had an idea of what it meant, but like, like even today at 25, I'll revisit a punk album that I listened to back when I was 12 years old, and I'll be like, oh, that's what it meant. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I still go back over some of the stuff too. You know, I didn't know how misogynistic, like the Dead Boys and stuff. I mean, so to have that come out in a major label, that Young, Loud, and Snotty thing, like with, hey little girl, you're caught with a meat in your mouth, and yeah. I don't want no cock girl. I need lunch, and it's just like, every single. It's like, don't look at me that way, bitch. Your face is gonna get a punch. Yeah, it's like that stuff would never could never see that in a major label today. You know, I can't believe it actually made it onto a major label. It's great stuff. I love it. But
unless you're a rapper.
Huh?
Rappers somehow managed to get away with that type of stuff.
Yeah, well, I guess it was their turn, right? Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, they did. But it's like, at least with the Dead Boys. Well, no, I can't say. I don't say. I have no idea. But I mean, NW. I liked some of the early rap. Some of the NWA and Public Enemy and.
Are you a Beastie Boys fan at all?
Well, yeah, no, but not really. Well, yeah, I guess so. And some of the early Ice-T was all right and stuff. But whatever.
Whatever is happening today is just a lost cause, in my opinion.
I just, again, it's like it's lost its urgency or something, or it's they used to call you street poets and all that kind of stuff, and I suppose they were. Public Enemy definitely was. I mean, Chuck D. I'm in Arizona right now, and Chuck D. is the one that Arizona was the last one to actually accept Martin Luther King Day for a holiday, and Chuck D. led a rally out here and stuff, and got him to actually change it through the legislature and stuff. So it was finally accepted. I mean, that kind of stuff's good. It's really, it's good positive stuff. Especially when they start drawing from the Black Panthers and stuff rather than, whatever. So, I mean, Martin Luther King would never have been Martin Luther King had he not had the militant side that wasn't afraid to fucking, pick up their weapons and stuff if they had to. Like you needed the Black Panthers to have a Martin Luther King. You kind of needed them in the background.
Yeah, you stirred up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, again, you kind of know, then you kind of know you don't mess with a guy. You're gonna get hurt. But
two kind of formal questions I had because my roommate just got home and I can't really be on here much longer. But I know pretty much the story of the Freeze, but can you tell me how the Freeze originally formed and just your progression from day one to how it is? Like, what was it like back then to now?
Oh, we started in '78. Both me and Rob, we lived across the street from each other. We went to elementary school together and stuff, and we'd always go out and to yard sales and buy whatever albums there were and stuff. And we kind of got into the same stuff at the same time, like Alice Cooper and Black Sabbath and that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, we were sitting there listening to the college radio station that I ended up going to be a DJ at, and him too. And the first punk song we ever heard, although we'd read all about it in Cream magazine, and the Sex Pistols had already broken up at that point, and in '78, and no, it was 77. Okay, 77 when we first heard Teenage Lobotomy came over the loudspeakers. I mean the radio stereo listened to, and we just fucking oh wow, the guy DJ's like, yeah, here's a band I got to play because they have these bins they have to play. Red or colored bins, something from those different bins. Each time per hour they have to play like 2 songs or something from each colored bin, and they have the different categories of songs in each one. This is a band called I don't know, the Ramones or something, and the song's called Teenage Lobotomy. Okay, whatever. And he puts it on, and he's blowing it off, and we're just like, what the fuck? This is fucking amazing. And so we went out that day. Me and him went out to the local record store, and we had like $200 each. We just bought everything that looked like remotely punk rock. And back then, and we came back with the Dead Boys and the first 2 Saints albums, or the first Saints album, and just everything we bought was good. The Stranglers and just everything that was there was all like in the cutout section, so it was all marked down to like $1.99 or something.
God.
And I remember
Punk
getting
records today are expensive.
getting a French copy of the Sex Pistols on like red vinyl or something.
Jesus.
Long since gone, but anyway, yeah, no, it's like, and everything we liked was good. I mean, back then, and it was all new to us too, though. So, and so we were like, Christ, we could play this, a lot of this stuff, not the Stranglers, but the Ramones and stuff. We got the first 3 albums by them, we just had. And he went out for $15. He bought a guitar and an amp.
Jesus.
Somebody gave me a microphone, some fucking Radio Shack thing or something that I plugged into his little amp at the same time as him. And he didn't know how to play guitar, so he just open tuned it. And that's how I even play today. Just like bar chord shit. And we just started writing our own songs right away. That's what we did. And then within a year, we had the band together. And just all from hearing the Ramones' Teenage Lobotomy saying, we can do this.
I love how the song Teenage Lobotomy, which is a psychological song, is the song that inspired you.
Well, I mean, yeah. I kind of think, yeah, right. Kind of like, Teenage Lobotomy mixed with Alice Cooper or something like that, back when he was good.
That's a combination.
And I throw myself, as the generally the main character in there somehow. I get tired right away of trying to write, social commentary songs like American Town and stuff, where I pretend I knew everything about society or something.
Kids. I love that.
So just to write about the way society has affected an individual, me usually, and then just put that out there and see if anybody can relate with it, which is how it still stands with how I write today. But
who drew your little freeze logo, the rabbit face guy?
Oh, I guess I posted about 6 months ago on the Freeze site. It took us until 6 months ago, to finally find out who that was. I remember going through Monsters of Filmland magazine back in 1984 or something, and seeing that as a full page, in black and white, just that face, and I was like, and then I see underneath the caption read, "The Beast That Never Sleeps." And we started doing speed around that time, so we were like, okay, yeah, wow, yeah, well, yeah, I can relate with that look right there, and to this day, it's the only tattoo I have, is that face on my shoulder. But it's one of the zombies out of the movie White Zombie. I never knew that until just recently. And the character in the movie looks nothing like that. It's just in a promo still they did the character. It's the only time the character really looked just like that.
One of the 2 of the first songs I ever heard by the Freeze were 3: Refrigerator Heaven, Broken Bones, and Trouble If You Hide, because the first Freeze album I ever got, which isn't technically your album, and this is Boston, not LA. That's
right.
That was my introduction to your band at first. Can you tell me about that album and just how it came to be, since you were a big part of it?
We as far as all the bands on that except for us, we were the only band that kind of came out as a punk band and got kind of lumped into the hardcore thing. We only I don't consider us a hardcore band at all. I don't like it. I don't like being thrown in with a hardcore label. We're a punk rock band. That's where we started, and that's where we're going to end up. That's what we are. But so we played a few songs that were faster. Like Violent Arrest and whatever. The Guilty Facey piece probably the only thing I consider kind of a hardcore thing. But anyway, we were the only band that we bridged both we started playing in Boston. It was 1980, and hardcore hadn't happened yet. And we had gone up there with the I Hate Tourist single, which just happened to catch on as a novelty hit on this WBCN Boston radio station. Yeah, and they started playing it as a joke song, every day for the entire summer, that summer. And it was one of the top 10 local singles, even though it's one of the most terrible recorded songs. We thought we knew what we were doing. We produced it. We'd never been in the studio before, but we produced it. And no, we got to have it sound like that. And and so anyway, but just if I had never written "I Hate Tourists" or "Suckers Only Date Ours," I want to fuck that. Those couple of lines, we would have never made it off Cape Cod. I don't think, but we got lucky that how. Anyway, so we got lucky with that, and then we get signed to do one song, "American Town." The original version was on a pre-Boston LA release called "A Wicked Good Time Volume 2," which Modern Method put out. Just a bunch of different Boston bands on it.
Oh, it was never
So yeah,
released.
what's that?
You said it was never released.
Oh no, I mean that was yeah, it was released,
Oh.
and that but it came out. It was before Boston at LA, and
Oh. Okay.
it was 81, and then in 82. So anyway, so yeah, we were playing with SSD Control. We were playing with all those bands, the straight edge thing. But then then so they decided to put it out. We never like had anything to do with the album being titled that. I mean, it was a good marketing ploy, but it has nothing to do with the song means. We were just the oldest band on the scene in Boston and stuff, and saw that there were a lot of bands that were just like, oh, if Black Flag looked this way, and they added a second guitarist, well, everyone else seemed to add a second guitarist. It's like then Minor Threat came out, and then they were straight edge and shaved their heads. And I remember like Al from SSD Control one show coming up during the middle of the set and saying, "Oh, we're going to shave Clif's head." and I'm like, why else? Like, I can be as cool looking as you? I don't think so. So anyway, that started a big rift between us. Like, we were just always behind. Just do what you want as long as you do it responsibly. I don't care what you do for drugs. Just don't just watch your behavior. And they were always like, Springer from SSD, even though like once he became of age, he started drinking and started taking acid and stuff. But, he was going around, during the shows and knocking beer out of people's hands that had paid for him and stuff. And it's just not cool. But
Yeah, I thought you guys were like the main band on This Is Boston, Not LA, because you have a song called This Is Boston, Not LA. And I like at the end of it, you're like, fuck LA. So I thought that was like your guys' idea or something.
yeah, I mean, basically, we wrote the song not having any idea it would be used as a title for anything. And, it's just, they wind up to the time bomb thing. And, when you let your anger out, you don't have to do it in the disguise of another band and stuff. Just do it as what you are. Just be careful to just craft your own image. Don't try as hard as you can not to craft yourself in somebody else's image, which so many bands seem like they were doing.
Yeah.
Which is why you saw so many bands too, go from Boston, go like the chunky heavy metal route, the cheap AC/DC kind of shit. Like we didn't do that either, So
I know, God, what band was it? Fuck, I can't think of the band's name, but I know of a certain punk rock band who was hardcore, and then they just went into this glam hair metal phase. I can't think of it.
DYS went metally, Social D on, Social D, SSD on how we rock. I mean, how you rock sucked. So, it's like, just do what you did, do what you do, and fucking don't try to sound like AC/DC. There already is an AC/DC. You're never going to sound as good as AC/DC, so just do what you do.
Yeah,
basically. But
the one album, I wanted to ask you about Live from Cape Cod 1980, that album, because I do own it on vinyl, and,
yeah, that's our sixth live show ever.
Like, what happened during that show? Like, what was it like to play there?
Oh, I don't know. We never knew what was it like to play on the Cape then. By 1980, we played. We had 6 shows, but we played a bunch of parties and stuff like that before. And so we had a couple 100-person following and something around here. But the band came together, dude. That's the other thing too. It's like we got some fucking lucky that we should never really have been a band, but just everything fell into place. Yeah. It's like the only people that happened to be into punk that we ever even met on the Cape just happened to play different instruments. One happened to be a drummer. One happened to play. Rick Andrews carries on bass. I mean, that guy was a phenomenal bass player and stuff. If you listen to his riffs and stuff on Boston at LA, and anything he played on early, he's the only one that knew anything to do with what he was doing. I mean, it's like I couldn't sing a note, and lyrically, I was just starting to come into doing something. But Rob on guitar for. A guy that has only been playing for open tune guitar and only been playing for a year or two was actually just doing a pretty good job. I mean, to this day, I play open tune guitar and I can't play Halloween Night like he wrote it. And it's like, huh?
Yeah.
But
and your new album, Calling All Creatures. So you said it's your first album in 20 years, right?
Yeah, we put out two singles, you know, but
Someone's
yeah,
Bleeding
first album.
and
Well, it's like both me and Bill Close. I remember Bill putting down his guitar after One False Move. One False Move is lyrically a real depressing album. You know, it's you know every character dies except for the person that ran the meth lab, Professor Red Eye. You know, he retires successfully, but you know, and Bill had gone NA at that point. You know, so he didn't even want to hear that. I mean, if he put the guitar down at the end of the session, he goes, "That's it, Hanger. I'm never playing with you again. I can't have these songs you write in my head to make me want to kill myself." You know, and I'm like, well, I guess they're effective then. I guess they're pretty effective then. They're pretty good written then. Huh? But we didn't talk for like 6-7 years even and stuff. And then we got back together and stuff. We kind of grew up, a little bit. And now I just got off the phone with Bill like about an hour ago, and he was just talking about we should get writing some more stuff. I was like, we don't have another 20 years in us, so let's do it. So we got a couple songs already going since calling all creatures. So we should have. We'll probably have an album together, enough songs for an album for maybe next year. Who knows?
I hope.
Yeah.
You talk about you take the. I'm not religious myself, but in many of your songs, the phrase just douses religion in kerosene. What is your take on religion?
What's my take on religion?
Yeah.
Basically that nobody knows. I mean, it's how can anyone know? That's why they're called faith-based religion, because you have faith in the belief that you know. I mean, but you don't know. Anybody that starts a discussion with me on religion that tells me they know what happens after you die can just go kill themselves and find out. That's what sacrifice and suicide is about.
Yeah,
it's a better place. It's a better place. Go now, then, if you enjoy it so much. Go. Just go. Get out of my. I don't want to hear it. Why don't you just go there then? It's so much better. And I don't want to hear it. Just go.
I love you.
It's okay. I've heard enough. I grew up I was in junior high and I was president of our church youth fellowship, and my mother made me go to Sunday school, and I didn't last long as that because I kept on asking the head guy there, but how do you know? I was like, really? How does a people that live only in an 80-mile square radius of the world, how did they get all the animals from Africa and North America and places like that they didn't know existed on the Noah's Ark? How would they fit that on that? I don't get it. How, yeah. And so anyway, basically what I look at is just if Jesus existed and is actually some proof that he's made kind of a composite character from a few different religions, but I mean he was a good guy. Basically, if Jesus himself, if you read the Bible and just take out what Jesus said, it's a lot like like a Martin Luther King type or a Mahatma Gandhi kind of guy or something. Rally the weak and the poor and that kind of stuff. And for the evangelicals today, and fucking for Trump to pretend that Trump, don't even get me going on that fucking guy. He's the most loathsome fucking not just president, but person that I've ever fucking come across in my life. And being a loathsome individual myself, huh?
You've met him?
No. But I mean, but just listening to the fucking guy. I mean, from day one, it's like everything he says he lies. He exaggerates or it's a straight up lie. None of my people had anything to do with any of the Russians. No, it's okay. So you want to know the truth? Anything he says. If you want to know what's really the truth, flip it right around to the opposite of what he said. Everything.
Yeah.
The economy is going to continue booming. Okay, it's not. All the economist signs. That's just they're lying about it. So okay, they're not.
Yeah, the Dow Jones just hit dropped 800 points the other day.
Huh? Exactly. Right.
The market just crashed the other day.
Right. And that's supposedly that's a really bad sign, the inverse factor or something like that. I don't know much about Wall Street, and I don't really care because I don't have any. I haven't even worked enough quarters to fucking collect Social Security in 7 years when I retire. So I mean, it's I'm all done. Once I hit 65 or something, and whatever, my health deteriorates to the point that I can't even go and do manual labor or something, I'm all done, and I'm happy with being all done. just go take a fucking shot of heroin and fucking a bunch of benzos and a bunch of alcohol and just lie it out peacefully. I mean, it's just, and that's just, you know, what I'm happy with that. I'm fine.
I support a person's right to live and end themselves the way they truly desire, but you will be surely missed.
Well, at that point, I probably won't be. I mean, you know, at that point, who knows? It's like, if I lost, that's all really I have the ability left to do is to actually put words together somewhat constructively. You know, if I lose that ability and stuff, I got to go. I got to go at that point. If that happens next week, I got to go next week. Yeah, because that's all I got for strength that's really left. You know, I don't have any. I've had plenty of doors that I could have opened and walked through. Like I have a bachelor's degree in substance abuse counseling. You know, but every class I went to, I was high on speed. I mean, you know, just anyway. I'll tell you something too. Like really, some people don't really know is that ever since 1981, so before Boston, LA, I haven't been able to write a set of lyrics without having been up all night on speed the night before.
Holy shit!
That's every single song. And it's like if I try to do it, I can write technically. You know, I can write technically well. You know, but it just comes out dry and sounding like Bad Religion. Or something like this, you know. I can write in polysyllabic, you know, like sentences too, same as Graffin can. But I mean, I don't want to. Graffin, I love Bad Religion, but the earlier stuff. But Graffin, to me, he sings at you rather than to you.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I mean, I feel like I'm being lectured by the fucking guy, and I don't want to be lectured when I'm trying to enjoy the music.
Yeah,
and I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to look up songs and words in the dictionary just to try to. You know, to get what kind of emotion he's conveying. Just say it.
Yeah.
You know, we came up with this idea. We know Greg Hetson pretty well, you know, and because we used to play with the Circle Jerks all the time, and we've kind of stayed in touch with them. And I remember one time we were on the last tour in 2015, I think, 2017, I guess, we toured the States. And we had come up with this idea. Yeah, we should put a book out called Laughing with Graffin. Because, you know, we Google search Greg Graffin and humor or joke or funny, right? Yeah. And the nearest thing to anything, you know, funny the guy came, you know, was Greg Graffin is an atheist who it's Laughing with Graffin. You know, 60 blank pages of jokes by the most unfunny frontman in America. You know, it's because I mean the guy has no sense of humor at all, none. So So this guy, like, I started laughing. I had really good friends with Greg Graffin. With Greg Hetson that we ran into at some show in Salt Lake City. And he goes, let me call Greg and tell him about that right now. And I go, yeah, okay, sure. He goes, so he gets him on the phone. He goes, yeah, Clif from the Freeze here. And he goes, oh, he's got an idea for a book. Oh, I'll let him tell you. So, hey, Greg, what's up? He goes, well, what's up, though? Yeah, I got an idea for a book. And I want you to tell me. It's called Laughing with Graffin. You know, because you know he's quite a comedian, and and he started half laughing at that. So I know that's kind of on the right track. And I go, except I need you to confirm with me: is he funny? Because I never know. Is he a funny guy? If he is, then we won't write the book. You know. And Greg goes, well, yeah, you kind of got to know him though. It's kind of a dry humor. I go, okay, you know what? Maybe we won't write the book, but. Do me a favor, just tell me one joke you can think of in all the years you've known him that he said, and we won't write the book. He's like, I really can't think of anything. All the books getting written, then you can't think of one joke someone said or one thing something that's somebody has done that's funny after you've known the person for 15 years. You know, it's like there's got to be something to it. Him not being funny. You know, so anyway, he thought it was funny. So. It's not meant to rag on. And I love Bad Religion, you know, but
same here.
But it is kind of humorous though to think how unhumorous it is.
I'm internally laughing because I can't laugh out loud because my roommate's asleep, but I'm cracking up so hard right now.
I mean, you get all these people that are all over the map, and that's how people should be, I suppose. You know, everyone comes at things with different viewpoints. You know, I'll say Social Distortion is one, a band that I, used to influence me back in the day. You know, back when, even through, even some of the songs on like White Heat, White Trash and stuff in the late '90s was really good. And we played with them in the late '80s when Prison Bound came out, and there's some good songs on that. But the first album's great, and the earlier singles are great. I don't know if you know the song 1945 by him.
By Social Distortion?
Yeah.
I haven't really listened to them that much.
It's one of their first singles. It's like Atom Bomb, TNT, New Disease, Poor City. But it's like, I remember hearing that like Ness had played in the first version of the Adolescents, and before Social D, and when the Adolescents wrote Amoeba. Amoeba. It's an atom bomb. I'd heard that like Ness just thought the lyrics to Amoeba were stupid, which I think they are. And
it's just a pop song.
Huh?
Amoeba's a pop song.
It's just right. Well, I mean, yeah. Again, and the jokey bands I'm not really into. Like if I listen to Adolescents, I'm going to listen to Kids of the Black Hole or anything Rick Agnew was on. But anyway, so Ness, I thought that was too even low for him to sing about something that's silly like that. So he went and rewrote the lyrics to it, and I guess he co-wrote the music, and he put out like 1945. What I'm getting at is that like then you start listening to Ness's lyrics, and they're the most simplistic fucking things in the world now. I mean, they sound like fucking like punk rock, like Hallmark cards or something. Some of this stuff on them, it's like for real.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I never gave myself fully to you. I don't know what to do. See Jane run, this kind of thing. It's just, So, but then you go down and you read comments, say, like I do sometimes under, like, and then YouTube say, where people will say, "Oh, Mike Ness understands me more than I even understand myself, and he expresses himself so brilliantly." And I'm like, huh? And then I'll do the same thing with Graffin. Oh my God! Oh, he just understands the world politics and the geopolitical aspects of it. It's like, yeah, but how does he reach you? How does he touch you emotionally? When you have to go fucking run to a fucking dictionary to look up, 3/4 of the words, and some of them aren't even in the dictionary. I mean, it's just, whatever. I mean, I like the songs, the few that they do that where he actually tells a story, like Anesthesia or Billy, or some of the stuff on Against the Grain and Suffer, I like, but a lot. But
I would say probably one of my top 5 favorite songs by The Freeze, I'm gonna say, is Echoes, because you talk about losing yourself and just putting your brain in a factory. That's kind of how I really feel in life, because I told you I work at well, I'm not going to say that with this because it's recorded, but I work in a factory myself, and I wish I could be doing my dream job, but sometimes I just feel like it'll never happen, and I just, I really relate to that shit. Rapid Reaction is just a solid album for me.
Yeah, I was probably your age when we wrote Rapid Reaction, so, I mean, I think I was 40, I came out in '86, and I was 25 when we wrote Rapid Reaction. And you know what, Rapid Reaction is a lot of people think that's our best album. That album's like a compilation album, basically. It's like Warp Confession. Kind of in a way. Warp Confessional actually came out in a different version a year before, on some compilation, a different recording. No One's Coming Home came out as No One's Ever Coming Home on a flip side comp before that. Before I Hit the Rubber Room, as I already told you, came out in '79. Yeah. Trouble If You Hide was already on, that was the third time we recorded Trouble If You Hide. We've written that in '79. The only songs we actually wrote for that album that ended up on that album were like Misguided Memories of the first time me and Bill ever sat down. Like I came up with the opening riff and he came up with the chorus riff on guitar. And where we actually co-wrote together, and Nothing Left too. Those were the two that I came up with the opening riff and he came up with the rest of it.
Yeah, I highly relate to almost every song on that entire album. I just love it that much. Like when I get super depressed, I'll turn that on and it'll just make it go away for a bit.
And that's a good thing. And I try not to be completely hopeless. There's usually a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel on most of the songs. Unless you're cutting through your skull with a saw, and you end up dying full of blood trying to rearrange your brain. But I mean, that's really no hope in that one. But Warp Confessional, it's like I had the whole priest pedophile thing didn't come out till like 6 years after that. I just figured, at that point it was rot in every institution, and to not have sex, to disallow sex is unnatural, and they'd have to take it out on somebody. And I just had the sex wrong. I was saying it was girls.
The reference you make about the doctor and Nothing Left, the doctor, they put you in a special and they told you it was school, and they gave you an ugly doll of Minnie Mouse. Like,
right?
What's that reference about right there? Is there's
Oh, I mean, it's just the way that they treat you like a child.
Yeah.
It's basically, I hung up from a noose because, it's like this is far beyond that, and they don't understand where I'm at, the doctors in that song. But,
yeah.
And it's just, all it is just, his wife and kids, come visit him at the office, and they catch him having sex with the secretary, and they end up leaving him, and he ends up cracking up. And being put in an institution, and ends up killing himself because he can't straighten himself out. The guilt over it. But,
I know we're at 50 minutes here. The last song that I wanted to ask you about is Refrigerator Heaven. That song kind of fucked me up when I was a kid. Like, how did you come up with that?
First of all, I didn't know Alice Cooper had a song called Refrigerator Heaven when I wrote it.
Oh, I didn't know that either. I just
you just learned it right now?
Yeah,
I never knew that. So, but people were saying, "Oh, Alice Cooper." Huh? Well, yeah, Alice Cooper. Oh, well, he has a song. I didn't know that, but again, I don't know. Don't ask me like when I get like that. I don't know where the stuff comes from. But a little kid thinking he's going to play a joke on his mother and stuff. Like he's not getting attention. He's doesn't feel loved, so he's going to go hide himself and pretend like he's disappeared to see if his mother would actually miss him. And in the end, he shuts the door a little bit too tight. He doesn't make it back out. So,
yeah.
we don't play that anymore just because I can't sit there and sing. If I can't relate with the lyrics anymore, we don't do it. Like I can't sing now. Now, Cliffy, quit your stalling. You haven't eaten since last night. I just, it's just too. I'm 58 years old. I just can't. Now, Cliffy, quit your stalling. I have to. I can play the part, but I don't like playing parts. I like to. If it doesn't feel real, I don't like to do it.
Yeah.
But there's a theme on there's a loose theme on almost all of our albums. At least starting with Misery Loves Company. Misery Loves Company, we were kind of like I at least was kind of into fuck you. Don't tell me fucking doing drugs is a crime. It's I don't mind hurting anybody. If I want to fucking do what I want to do, go fuck yourself. And it's so basically we got away with it. In the end, I kind of had to go on the run. I ended up getting busted in 2000, 10 years after the album came out. They charged me with a 10-year mandatory minimum for receiving meth in the mail, a half ounce. Only over 10 grams is mandatory minimum trafficking charge. It's 10 years in jail. But I took off and I sprinkled it out my window in my car as I led like 14 cops on a chase, and it melted on the wet roads. They couldn't collect any of it. And when I finally pulled into my apartment and stuff they call it a low-speed police chase. It was whatever. I never went over 50 miles an hour, but I didn't pull over from either until everything was gone.
Yeah, I understand that.
But it's like basically, so we were on the run. The criminal was on the run and getting away with stuff like Criminal Inside, And then like the next album, Crawling Blind, basically the people doing the drugs become addicted. Like chemical fed compulsion. My brother had died too, which kind of really affected me. So you kind of have death and addiction creeping into that one. Freak Show, basically the drugs, whatever you're doing in life has really fucked you up. So mental illness comes into that one, and then one false move, everyone dies, but in one way or another.
Yeah, I like I said before this interview, I started with Land of the Lost, and I worked my way up to Calling All Creatures just to refresh myself on your library. I mean, I listen to your music all the time, but I actually, for the first time ever, heard Misery Loves Company. I had actually never heard that up until today.
Oh, you hadn't heard Misery Loves Company, That's good. I mean, the first 6 songs on it, I think are, good solid songs. But then we recorded in 2 different sessions, and that's when Tang heard the last 4 songs that I paid for, to go in the studio and record, Cremated, Too Blind to See, Fluid of Fire, whatever, like Whip Kiss or whatever. And he paid for us to go in and record 6 songs. And those 6 songs we're still paying for now. I can't, what are you, I can't take him. The Bloodlight Talking Bomb single is still in print. I mean, he's still pressing the fucking thing. Yet he claims he never made his money back from pressing the album that I paid for 4 songs on, and he paid for 6, and he's still collecting the money. He hasn't broken even yet, but he's never sent a statement to show us.
They sound fucking vicious.
What is?
Tang.
He's just an outright thief. He's fucking. He's a sociopath. He's got no empathy for anybody. He's basically, very Trumpian in nature. Thinks only of himself.
Since we're almost at an hour here, I guess the last question I'll ask, which I ask this all the time. What was it like being? So you've been in a band for almost 40 years at this point.
41.
Jesus Christ, that's a long time. Just what's it like being in a band for 41 years, and what was the scene like back then compared to now?
What was the scene like back then compared to now?
Yeah. And just being in a band for 41 years, like how's?
You were, I don't know. You were more. It was a more unique thing to do. I mean, there weren't as many people doing it, But I mean, and to get to the point now where like most of the bands back then that you listen to, they're playing something new at the time. And I kind of wish that, we had been a couple of years earlier because, some of the riffs that we have, to me are much, not that they have to be intricate, but just, some of the hooks that Bill comes up with on guitar and stuff. I just, a little more in-depth than some of the stuff that came out in 77, the real simple shit. But so I wish we got like New Rose and some of the early Damn stuff. And it's like, it's just, I don't know. It sounds terrible to me. But again, today, it's all been done. So you just basically have to come at it you have to come at it from your own angle, and hopefully your own angle will stand out. My angle that I come at stuff from is probably too out there for most people to grasp anyway. So I don't think we would ever have a chance. We did have a chance at anything bigger than we are right now. But a lot of that's got to do with just me, not Bill or anyone else. It's just me, with the lyrics. Like if I had just changed a few lines in a few songs, Powder Rock and Pills from Israel's Company, right? There's another thing that Curtis fucked us up on. Me and Bill sat down we were joking about how easy it is to write a fucking pop song, pop punk song, which is what Powder Rock and Pills is, and we wrote that in 20 minutes. I wrote the lyrics in the studio, at the recording studio at the day we were recording, and it took 20 minutes. It was like a joke, and Curtis had already put out Bloodlights and Talking Bombs as a single, and then he wanted to do a video. And MTV had expressed some interest, and Atlantic Records was looking into us at the time. And but Curtis would not put out a fucking video for either Bloodlights, which we pushed because it has more visual imagery that would have worked in a video than Talking Bombs does with its repeating verse, which I don't like to do. But anyway, so he made us do the video for fucking Powder Rock and Pills, which is completely non-representative of us, And he spent $1,500, which it's never the label spending the money. It's the label is spending your money because you have to pay it all back. Yeah, right. So it's like he releases us, makes us do a video for a song that's not representative of us. MTV says, this is pre-Nirvana, so MTV says that we can't play with that title. Powder Rock and Pills is too directly drug related. So if you could just change the title, and at that point, MTV get off the air would come out, and I hated MTV anyway, and I said, no, I'm not going to censor me. And it was my way of getting back Curtis, for making us do the song to begin with. So, no, I'm not going to change the title. I'm not going to let MTV censor us, no. And so they never played the video. We basically wasted $1,200, $1,500, for making the video. And Curtis never got a chance to release it either, though. So that was good, I thought.
Damn.
I mean, the video is still up and around. I don't know if you've seen it on YouTube, but I mean, it's for then in 1990 to make a video that looked retro it looks completely ridiculous today. You know, as in 1990, trying to look retro.
Yeah,
But you know, it's kitschy. I mean, it's kitschy, but it's okay. Whatever.
I guess
I got nothing too deep to bitch about except for fucking the way we get ripped off by labels. Everything else has been cool. I mean, the people you meet and stuff on tour and stuff. You know, there's always an asshole too, but in general, the people you meet, you never have a chance to meet otherwise. And you know, we've made friends throughout the years and stuff that we never would have made otherwise.
And a lot of diehard fans such as myself.
Huh?
And a lot of diehard fans such as myself.
Oh, no, which is thanks. And that's and to know that, like, you know, it happens to me probably like every couple of months, like especially when we're playing. But it still happens to me like it doesn't have the same effect when people say it to me or message it to me as it does in person. But I've had people come up to me crying at shows, and it used to happen like you know, every few months or something. Like I just get a clip, you know, can I just say thank you? And I go, what's wrong? No, nothing. I was going to kill myself and stuff, but you know, and then listen, I didn't know that anyone else, you know, felt the same, you know, the same way that I did. And once I knew that, you know, I had somebody like you that like understood me and stuff, that I didn't feel so alone in the world. And I'm still here, and I want to thank you for that, because I am still here. And it's, you know, I'm glad you're still here too. You know, sorry I had to go through all that shit. You know, glad I was able to help.
Damn.
But
oh yeah, I was going to ask you, how did you come up with the name Cliffhanger?
oh, it's just stupid. It's just back, you know. Again, it's the Billy Idol, Joe Strummer back in '77. You know, whatever, the bands were all doing that. What else was I going to come up with? I came up with the other guys' names that I think are actually better too. I came up with Rob DeCradle. That was kind of funny. And the other guy's name was Papa Virgin. You know, so, but whatever. A little more clever, but Cliffhanger is just stupid. I try. I'm semi getting out of using that. I'm just kind of Cliffhanger cross now. But plus, everyone pronounces my last name wrong. So yeah, I don't have to correct everybody. So
yeah, I like it. Well,
plus, I really don't care. I don't care about my name. I don't care if I'm Italian, American, or whatever. I'm just me. That's it. You know, it's like. I never get into bands like thinking that just because they were from a certain city or a certain scene that somehow, you know, that made them better than other bands from other cities and other scenes. You know, it's like, no, it's just, you know, the Boston scene fucking was no, the Boston scene. Yeah, might have had a few good bands from it at one time. That's great, excellent. But it doesn't make your band better just because you can align yourself with the Boston scene. It's what you are, not what the scene is, that defines who you are. You know, it's like. I mean, it's nice to have a scene because you kind of get to, you know, to grow up and relate with different people with it and make friends within the scene. And, you know, then, you know, you go with your friends and go watch the bands and stuff. But, again, it's like this Boston scene, this whole scene versus scene thing that was created from Boston to LA was completely antithetical to what I originally wrote the lyrics about. Yeah. It was about trying to be individual rather than spite.
Rather than spite, I guess.
Right, yeah, rather than just like basically a weak shadow of somebody else, something, another band or whatever, or just taking all your cues from somebody else when you're taking it from yourself and how you feel, so you're not being true to yourself. I mean, I got a lot of that stuff from Biafra. Biafra was kind of like a mentor. He kind of like really helped us out early on. Yeah, and I remember like he's another one. He's funny though. Biafra's he was cool. He was like, I remember when Princess Di came out, and he's like, Mr. Hanger. He's backstage and he's always like at a podium. He thinks he's like he's lecturing everybody, in the whole room. So everyone always listens to what he says too. So this is like '85 or something. He's like, Mr. Hanger, may I speak with you a moment? Yeah, Joe, what's up? He goes, this song of Princess Di. Now, don't you think it's a little misogynistic, a little anti-female? I go, no. Well, I figured that you, if anybody, would get what the meaning of that one is. It's talking about a princess attitude. It's not talking about like, a female, the female species, or it's not talking about any specific princess, or it's just the attitude that princess attitude can die. And I think it's somebody that would write "Kill the Poor" might understand that kind of sarcasm. But Leslie the Landlord might understand that kind of stuff. No. I just thought I'd just bring it up. Well, thank you, Joel. Thank you. I appreciate that.
The fuck?
But that's one of the coolest things, though, about having been in the band for so long is that we've got a chance to meet and to play with, like, basically all the people we ever looked up to,
Yeah.
UK subs were one of a big influence on all of us early on. And if it hadn't been for the UK subs, we might not have been turned out the way we hope we at least turned out, which is like fairly accessible to people, and we don't, I always hang around after shows and stuff if people want to ask anything and whatever. And, but I remember might not have been like that. We not at 17 and 18, gone up to Boston to see the UK subs at their height. We were underage. We couldn't get into the club. But we knew that that Charlie and Nikki, the two main guys, were in there, and in the club. And we went up to the bouncers at the door and just said, it was pre-show. And we said, yeah, we're the fanzine from Cape Cod. And we drove all the way up here to see if we can't get an interview with Charlie and Nikki from the subs. And they're like, no, we can't get in. And I met Charlie and Nikki. I see them over at the bar and stuff. And Nikki's got this fucking leather jacket on with all these spikes coming out of it and stuff. And it was, kind of almost intimidated. We were just kids from Cape Cod. And they're like, what's going on? Hey, mates. Hey, Charlie, Nikki, we're just to the fanzine. We just want to see you guys ask a few questions. Sure, come on in. And the bouncers had to grudgingly let us in, and we went right up and sat a talk with them, and they just feel right at home. They end up buying us beer, when they're not supposed to. They were underage, and, that kind of stuff. And we just started laughing. Exactly how it should be, And, we've ran into other bands with horrifying horror shows, as people, but like the Misfits. We played with them on the Walk Among Us tour, and they were the first band that actually roped all the other bands off from getting anywhere near their dressing room. They wouldn't talk to any of the opening bands. They were, playing like your mysterious rock star kind of thing.
Yeah.
Rubbed me the wrong way, And the Exploited were another one. We played with them in '84, and we were all supposed to go in, us and 7 Seconds, and we're all supposed to go in and have this big buffet and stuff at the same time. But nope, last minute the Exploited said, no, we're going to go in first. The other bands can wait. For the buffet. We're sitting in the hallway for fucking an hour, starving to death. Fucking what the fuck? And the Exploited come out of the fucking thing finally all shit-faced and fucking bouncing into us and fucking falling off, falling down, fucking shit. Anyway, we walk into the buffet. They fucking broke bottles and all the fucking food, took pisses in the fucking food, and fucking nothing. There was not one thing left that was edible. And it's like, don't fuck your own like that, But it's little things like that, like early on, can steer you one direction or another pretty easy.
Yeah.
I'm just just glad that we had like cool people like the Apper and Charlie Hopper and Nicky Garrett from the subs and stuff to point us in one direction. And Circle Jerk's really cool too. I remember Keith Morris. We played with the Circle Jerks when the group Sexting came out, which was like 81 too, something like that. And we warmed up for him, and all the fanzines from New England were all at that show, all trying to interview Keith. And I'm talking to Keith, and Keith is like saying to all the people like, I don't know why you want to talk to us. We say the same things in all your same interviews. Have you talked to these guys here and these guys here? I mean, these are you should be talking to. These are your people here. These are the bands from your area and stuff. We sure we'll do the interview, but you guys once you talk to some of these people too, include them. Don't forget these guys. And that was really cool,
Yeah. I wish I could.
And again, that's how it should be. But Keith's always been really cool.
Speaking of that, I've got a friend. His name is Elliot Lindemood. He runs a YouTube radio show called The Swine Brothers. For years, he's been wanting to talk to you. After this interview, can I pass you his information because he really wants to talk to you?
Yeah, sure.
His name is Elliot Lindemood, and I was gonna pull him onto this call, but he's blind, and so he has a special program on his computer. But yeah, he honestly, I mean, I know a lot about your band, but he knows a lot more about your band than I do. I mean, he's a die-hard Freeze fan. You're like his biggest idol in this world.
Yeah, well, tell him I'm sorry. But, yeah, no, I'd be happy to talk to him. That's cool.
Hey, cool, thanks so much. And also my buddy Logan from Boston wanted me to say hi to you for him, too.
Okay, well, yeah, say hello to anyone like that for me. And, Well, so what do you think about calling out creatures?
Oh, I love calling out creatures. I've heard it on, like I said, I heard it on YouTube. I'm still waiting for I think it might show up on Monday. I ordered it last Thursday, so hopefully it shows up on Monday.
I don't know if you noticed, but I put all the lyrics in the comments section as the opening thing.
Yeah, I did notice that actually.
Okay, yeah, good. Because I think that is probably our most consistent album. Consistent, right from beginning to end. Like I can point to a few songs, like on every album that I wish I didn't put on there. Freak Show I think would be a great album if it wasn't for 3 certain songs. Crawling Blind I think would be a great album if it wasn't for the sound. I think the sound sucks on that one. Misery Loves Company. Again, it's like you get almost like 2 separate albums. An EP go along with. It's like you got 2 EPs basically on one album. One sounds completely different than the other. It's just One False Move is fairly consistent. But I just think that overall the melodies on this here and what I'm saying are more coherent than I say some of the stuff I like Now Serving, but the serial killer that like is excited to serve body parts to himself. I walk his foot back to the oven. It's more exciting when they beg. It's that kind of stuff. But
yeah, I like the song Neighborhood Pride on calling out creatures.
Yeah, that's something I didn't even know. I always knew that those Operation ID groups existed or neighborhood watch groups existed, but I never knew the fucking freaks. That would there's a person with a backpack on a bike that's got a flat tire or something, pretending to have a flat tire in a neighborhood. He's obviously gets weaker, and he's probably scoping out of the houses. And that will activate fucking a bunch of calls to the watch commander in the street. And Phoenix, I found out from looking into it, researching, that there's a watch commander. One out of every 12 residential houses, there's a watch commander in it for their street, for their block.
I'm so glad.
And what they do is they handle the calls from the people, and if they find that there's something suspicious, which is they define suspicious activity as someone that you don't know walking through in your neighborhood. It's for one thing, it's not your neighborhood. It's public property when you're on a fucking sidewalk and that kind of fucking stuff is just. So I ended up signing up to like some of the. First of all, I started a side group on Facebook. Who's watching the block watch? Because nobody is. The police watch the block watch, and we know how well Internal Affairs watches the police. They don't. So I mean, the citizens on patrol people that the watch commander calls out to go chase people and take their pictures, just because they have a flat tire and a bike with a backpack means they're like homeless tweaker thief. It's like they profile people, and it happened to me. I'm sitting there. We played punk rock bowling last year, and I had to pull off on the sidewalk and text Bill Close in L.A. like the 15 songs for the set. So I was there for like 10 minutes, and these 2 guys come walking up from behind me, and I could tell they weren't thieves or something because I've been robbed at knife point from my bikes before. And anyway, I had those stolen, but I could tell they weren't thieves, so I knew exactly who they would be. They're walking up, and I hear them as I'm, on my phone typing the stuff in, trying to get it done as quick as I can. I hear them, hello, excuse me, and I ignore them. I excuse me, I didn't even turn around. I'm just typing on, to continue doing what I'm doing. Hello, do you need help? I turn around and say, yeah, I do. I need help from you, interrupting me. As you can see, I'm doing something over here. I'm busy. And if I didn't actually need real help, I'm holding the most helpful instrument ever invented in my hand to get it with. So why don't you just mind your own business, because I know who the fuck you are, and just get out of here. Well, you're sitting out here, you're sitting out here on your phone for I don't know how long, and, nobody knows who you are. I said, you got a backpack. I said, what? I got a backpack. So now you're profiling me? Profiling, is pretty much illegal after, Joe Arpaio out here, was basically let go for that and charged with criminal prosecution for profiling people that, he thought were Mexicans, or because if they were Mexican, if they looked Mexican, he assumed that he profiled them as, being illegal aliens. So he'd stop and ID these people illegally, So and that's what these people are trying to do to me. I get a backpack, so I get a backpack on, so I fit there. I must be a tweaker that's, a thief that's casing the neighborhood pretending he's on his phone. And I said, if you're profiling me, you get the fuck out of here. You know what? Next time two guys approach me, and I've been robbed at gunpoint, just like you guys who walk up to me right now, at a knife point from my bike. So next time I see two people or one person approach me, I tell them, leave me alone, and they persist to come up in my space. I carry pepper spray with me, and I'm just going to empty the fucking can in your faces next time. Whoever does it. Oh, you don't have to go there with a profile. We're just saying if you want to. Shut the fuck up. You're the most insincere fucks I've ever fucking talked to. Get the fuck out of my face and go mind your own fucking business. It's not hard to do. Just try it. A little practice you'll be all right with a little practice. Mind your own fucking business unless you see somebody doing something wrong. Don't assume they're going to do something wrongly. Fuck these people.
You're amazing.
Well, I mean, it's like, this is just stuff that was just like, it's this uncommon common sense stuff. Just mind your own fucking business. What was I doing that was wrong?
People don't have no right to fucking anymore.
They have no right to fucking police what I'm doing on a public sidewalk. It's not their neighborhood, and they have no right to come out and fucking say a word to me. If I don't want to talk to them, get the fuck out of my face. It's like, fuck these people.
God damn. That was a lot.
But anyway, I should probably get going. I got to get out.
You gave me.
I got to get ready. But no, it was good talking to you.
So that's.
And you hit all the right buttons to get me riled up. That's good.
Anything you want to say to your fans out there who watch this?
If they really want Calling All Creatures, which I think they really should try to at least listen to, you got to dig deeper, because Slope Records did nothing to promote it. But it is out there, and it's available.
It came out in January.
We recorded it in November, and we were told it was going to come out in January. So, the label had told me that. So what do? I make the announcement it's going to come out in January. Then when it doesn't come out in January, who are all the people going to ask why not? Me. So I spend fucking 5 days straight just answering why it's not coming out, when it's coming out, if it's coming out. And so I asked him again, was it coming out? Oh, April, definitely, April.
Yeah,
so
April 24th.
Then April comes, and that's just the digital version. Well, is anything else coming up besides just the digital version? Yeah. There's going to be a colored vinyl, a signed colored vinyl. I said, why don't we sign and number them? Because you always want to do that, I think, because for one thing, the label could say they're pressing 300 and actually press 3,000, but if they're not numbered, from 1 to 300, you don't know exactly how many they're pressing.
Yeah.
You just have to take their word for it. It's like, so anyway, so that didn't come out, in April, only the digital version. So when does the rest of them coming out? I must have spent fucking 40 days since January, just answering why this didn't happen when this guy said it was going to happen. And then we couldn't go to Europe. We wouldn't have had the album to bring with us on a European tour to promote our first album in 20 years. We wouldn't have had the album with us because it would have been out of the first pressing. So it's like, we canceled that and also nobody in Europe knew it was even out yet. Yeah. That's why we had to cancel Europe. I mean, we've headlined 5 tours of Europe, but we had to cancel this one. Because no one knew.
Yeah,
and that's nothing to do with us. It's just through the label.
I just within the last week found out about it, so I'm really late to the party.
Well, again, it's like no one even knew there was a party. Again, you can write the best songs in the world, but if they never make it out of your room, no one's going to know about it. They never made it out of the label office, hardly, because they didn't promote it. They didn't send one review copy out anywhere. I had to send fucking MP3s to a few different fanzines and radio stations to get any of the promotion that you actually see and interviews you actually see, because I initiated the contact with the people to let them know that it was out, and and I don't like ragging on people, but
yeah, I understand what you mean. This just shows how punk rock you really are, that you'll go all out of your way to DIY it.
Yeah, I mean, again, if we did, and I wouldn't do it if I didn't stand behind it 100%. We all do in the band. Bill's really happy with it. It's like, Bill's a grouchy guy. He's like, he doesn't want any stress. It's like, Hanger. It's like, I think these songs sound good. I think we should start writing again. I go, I think it's a good idea, Bill. Because we're not gonna be around forever. He goes, no, you're right. We're at that croaking age now. If we die now, they call it natural causes. Unless you got a gun in your hand and your brain splattered all over the wall, or a needle hanging out of your arm, it's called natural causes. So
I love
I said,
you.
good point, Billy. Yeah, good point. So yeah, we're writing still. So.
This is the most entertaining interview I've ever had.
Huh?
This is the most entertaining interview I've ever had. Hands fucking down. You are the winner.
Well, you got me animated, and that's important because I could sit here and just go, yeah, no, I know, yeah. No, yeah, right. Okay, really, I got to smoke a cigarette, and I can't talk and smoke a cigarette at the same time, so I got to get going. But
thank you so much for this interview. I really appreciate it, Cliff. I seriously appreciate it.
no, thanks for. Thanks. I get lazy sometimes where, like, I'll start worrying about everything, and I'm not going to get this done or that done. I'm not going to make it work on time. I'm gonna benzo. Well, you can. I don't have to go on YouTube. But I've been prescribed Klonopin for 25 years, and I ran out 3 days early, and you can die coming off the stuff. So I got to go find some in the street somewhere, which is always a iffy proposition for a guy that's got an 8-page criminal record. So
please don't die.
Anyway. Oh no, it's just all right. It is what it is. So it doesn't matter at this point.
Well, have a good night, man.
Hopefully I've learned my lesson. I put out a flyer. I've been arrested 5 times for shoplifting, but I figure over the years I've shoplifted 5,000 times, so getting caught 5 times out of 5,000 isn't that better a ratio?
That's
but,
pretty
so I put out a flyer saying, girl in a jail cell saying, with just a little more practice. And exactly. So just hopefully I've been practiced up on my drug hunting ability without getting caught. We'll see.
Well, I'll let you go, man. I appreciate it so much.
No, good talking to you again. So okay. When are you going to put this up?
It'll be on my YouTube channel. I'll give you a link to it when I have it up.
Okay, I guess please just let me know. I'm sure some of the other guys are going to want to hear it and go, "What the fuck were you talking about?" From the band. So anyway, many about me, not you. So anyway, all right, good talking to you. But I'm gonna run though. I got to get going doing this stuff.
See you later, mate.